Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video we will be seeing how did I make this dress, also the one I'm wearing right now, using this kurta, and it's going to be a very easy tutorial. We're not going to draft any pattern, we are directly going to mark the measurements on the fabric itself. And also this is my first ever detailed YouTube video that I tried to create. So please let me know if you have any suggestions or the areas in which I should improve. Also, if you like the video, please click on the like button and also subscribe to my channel. That's it. I think let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that I did was separate the front and the back part and give it a good press. If you want to make a dress, then you need to measure the width of the front part, and it should be at least half of your hip measurement plus 1. My hip measurement is 36, half of it is 18, plus 1 is 19. It is more than 19, so I can make a dress out of it. So first we will work with the front part and make it ready. I have drawn a horizontal line, so this will be the starting point for my pattern. Then I will draw a second horizontal line at 6.5 inches. How did I come up with this 6.5 inches? Is based on the bust measurement. My neckline to underbust measurement is 5.5 and I have added 1 inch for seam allowance. Then I will just pin the pieces so that they won't move. The width of your fabric should at least be 2.5 inches more than 1/4 of your bust measurement. My bust measurement is 8 and the width of the fabric is 10.5. So I will get some gathers. Now go ahead and cut these pieces. It will be just a rectangle with height of 6.5 inch and width of 10.5 inch into 2 because this is folded. So as you can see, this is the folded side of the fabric. So the markings would be on the other side. So first thing that we mark is the underbust measurement divided by 4. Mine is 6.5 and I will add half inch of seam allowance. So I will mark it at 7. Then we also need half inch of seam allowance at the top. So I will also add that. I will just draw a line for the seam. And now our actual measurements will start from this point. First thing that I will mark is the waist, which is at 3.5 inches from my underbust. So I will just mark that and draw a straight line. Once you draw the straight line, you need to mark your waist measurement, divide by 4 plus half inch of seam allowance. So my waist measurement is 6.25 plus half inch. So I will mark that here and draw and connect those 2 points together. Then I'll draw a straight line from the waist to the bottom part of the dress, wherever the dress ends. But since our hip is not a straight line, it's always, I need to add that curve. My hip is at 11.5 inches from my underbust. So I will draw a line at 11.5 inch from underbust. And then I will go half inch outwards on that point. And then I will form a curve on that point. Once you add the curve, measure it horizontally. The horizontal measurement should be 1/4 of your hip plus the seam allowance. So for me it is correct. In case it is not correct for you, you need to go out a little bit more and make the curve. Before you cut the pieces, make sure you measure all the measurements correctly and they are 1/4 of your measurements plus half inch or whatever seam allowance you are taking. Once you are sure that they are correct, go ahead and cut the pattern. Now our front pieces are ready. Now we will work with the upper part of the dress. The width here is 10.5. I usually need 8.5, so 2 inch is extra. So we will mark the neckline I usually mark it at 5, but since it's 2.5 extra, which will go in gathers, my bust point is at 3.5 inch. So I will go down 1 inch and then I will form the armhole curve by joining these 2 points. I would also like a curve at the front part, so I will go down by ½ inch and then join those 2 points together and then cut these curves. Once that is done, go ahead and add a basting stitch so that we can form gathers by pulling the threads. Let me know in the comments if you don't know how to do the basting stitch and gathers. Then I'll do a tutorial for that as well. Once that is done, it will look something like this. Go ahead and do the same process for the main fabric as well. Once the gathers are formed, you need to go ahead and connect these pieces with the bottom part of the dress. Connect these two pieces together by keeping the right sides facing each other, and then we will pin it down together. To pin it correctly, what we will do is we will mark the middle point of both the fabrics by folding it into half and then marking the middle point. I have already marked the middle point of the other fabric, so I will just connect those 2 points together and then I will join these pieces. Make sure after forming the gathers, the length of your upper part of the dress should match with the underbust measurement. And once you pin it down together, do the same for the lining fabric as well. It will look something like this when you have pinned it all together. Now go ahead and stitch these two parts together. Make sure you stitch it with the exact seam allowance that you have considered. So after you have stitched it, it will look something like this, and we also have the lining fabric. Now once this is done, we will use the front part to do the markings on the back part. Now I will fold it in two so that it will be easier for me to do the markings. To make back part by marking the measurements of the front part, I will fold both the parts and keep them on each other. The marking near the bust would be for me 8. Since the front part has gathers, it has more width and I do not need the same width on the back part. So back part I will mark the width as 8 and every other measurement would be same as the front. As you can see, the back pattern already has a zip, so I will keep it as it is. We don't need to add a zip here. I will align these two patterns together, the front and the back part, and then I would just trace out the pattern on the back part using a chalk. Make sure you lay them down correctly and that they are flat, otherwise you would get one part bigger and one part smaller. So make sure that they are lying correctly over each other. Also for the back pattern, I'm going to keep the back part a little longer than the front so that it would be comfortable. So I've done that marking. As you can see, I have kept it a little longer. Now go ahead and cut the pieces and it will look something like this after you have cut the pattern. Now we'll move on to the front pattern so that we can go ahead and add the straps. So we will keep the main fabric and lining fabric in such a way that the right sides are facing each other. And then we have already created straps and we will attach those straps at the pointed edge. Make sure that you're keeping the straps inside so that when you will turn the fabric on the right sides, the straps will come out. We will just pin them together, otherwise it will be difficult to manage, and we will do the same also for the other side as well. Now don't forget, we have another straps which is coming out from the front, so we need to add those as well. To add those straps, we need to know the midpoint. So we will fold it into two and then mark the midpoint from where the straps should be coming out. Once that is done, draw a straight line on the midpoint so that you can form a V here. Now we will go ahead and attach those straps which will be coming out from the front, like this. They would be on the wrong side and pin them together. The similar we will do for the other side as well. Once you stitch it, it will look something like this. There is a gap and from this gap the straps would be coming out. Now go ahead and cut that V and add some notches so that it will be easier for us to flip it on the right sides. So this is how it will look once you flip it. You can see that there is a gap that we have created from where the strap would come out from. After pulling the straps out, it will look something like this. We need to add one more stitch so it will create a loop for the straps. Once that is done, it will look something like this. And this is how it looks on the wrong side. Once this is done, we will move ahead with our back pattern. First, we will do the finishing of the neckline of the back. For that, we will put the right sides together and then pin the lining with the main fabric. Do the same on the other side as well and take it to the sewing machine and stitch it all together. Once you are done doing that, it will look something like this. And then now it's time to put the front part and the back part together. So we will align them by keeping the right sides facing each other. We will not stitch the lining along with the main fabric. First, we will stitch the main fabric together like this. Pin it all so it will be easier for you to take it to the sewing machine and stitch. Also make sure that you're aligning it correctly. Once you pin down all and do the same for the lining fabric as well. Once you attach the front and the back part, flip it to the right side and it will look something like this. Now we just need to attach the straps at the back based on your measurement and then your dress is ready.